So I'm joined by Carrie McKinley. Carrie, hello. How are you? I haven't seen I've
Hey,
seen you on
Mike.
I've seen you on Facebook a gazillion times, but I don't think we've seen each other in I don't know 20 some odd years. I think something like that.
2002, my friend. So, yes, back when you were the best boss I possibly could have gotten
Oh well,
straight out
thank
of
you.
journalism grad school.
So,
Mike,
um,
seriously, anybody who works for you, I think, as a new person would say, you are just the most patient and you are the best, and you so wanted us to succeed. And I have always appreciated that about you.
well, I appreciate the endorsement. I wasn't calling to get an endorsement, but we'll take those, right? So I was on Facebook and I'm like, going through and seeing what everybody's doing for the summer. And Carrie's summer vacation is in Peru.
Yes,
So,
my favorite country.
yeah, first time visit or you've been there before?
Oh, this is my fourth visit. This is my first time with my kids.
Oh,
So,
you said
we
fourth.
decided to,
It's your fourth time to be
fourth
there?
time for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're at Machu Picchu, which is one of the tourist
Machu
destinations
Picchu.
with the old ruins and such like that. So tell me how do you get there? I guess that's the first question is like you're in Colorado now. So I guess you fly out of Denver and then tell me your journey to get there.
So there's a couple of different ways you can get here. It's not a straight shot, no matter where you're coming from in the US. We're lucky in Denver, we can catch a direct flight from Denver to Panama City and then Panama to Lima, and then it's Lima to Cusco. So there's a little hopscotching going around, but some of these trips that we looked up were like 20 hours of traveling. It doesn't have to be that long, doesn't have to be that hard. But the best way to do it is to get into Lima, and then from Lima, you take a regional airplane to Cusco. You can hop on a bus, but it will take you 22 hours, and the flight is an hour 20.
Wow.
So, if you are adventurous, if you want to see the entire countryside and go through, half a dozen different microclimates and really see the country, you take the 22-hour bus ride. Kids and I, we just didn't have that kind of patience, so we jumped on a plane and we got to Cusco on Monday. And Cusco is one of the oldest cities in North America. It was founded by the Incas thousands of years before the Spaniards got there in the 1500s, and it's really cool. It was one of their big capitals, and it's actually the shape of the city is in the shape of a panther. It was designed that way.
Hmm.
And the city itself, I mean, Machu Picchu aside, totally worth seeing because there are all kinds of buildings throughout town where you see sort of this Inca stone style structure on the bottom and then plaster on the top. And what happened was when the Spaniards came in the 1500s, they wanted to make it look Spanish, right? But okay, Spain, there's no architect or engineer there who knows how to deal with earthquakes like the Incas did. So they tried to put on basically Spanish tops on Inca buildings. Earthquake strike, all the plaster falls. The stone structures are still there from thousands of years ago. It's really beautiful.
So are there hotels next to where the ruins you're at, or tell me kind of where you stay when you go there?
This is also part of the fun journey, right? When you take a train from Cusco to Aguascalientes, that's the little town that's basically the base of tourism. And tourism is the baseline of the economy here in Cusco and in this whole region. It's tourism first, agriculture second, because we're in the sacred valley of the Incas. This is tremendous agricultural territory around here. So you get to Aguascalientes and you can stay in a hotel there. And then it's about a 20-25 minute bus ride up a very narrow, harrowing series of switchbacks to get to the base of Machu Picchu. There is one hotel here, and that is where we are staying. It is a beautiful place called the Sanctuary Lodge, and it's the only game in town. It is right at the base of the Citadel, so we can walk out of our rooms and over the sidewalk and go through the gates of Machu Picchu.
So I take it you have to have a lot of patience. From what you're there's so many things that could go wrong as far as like timing and stuff like that. So this isn't a a 3 or 4 day weekend getaway. This is something you need a solid week or maybe 10 days to go do, I guess, right?
If you're really going to dig in and enjoy it, I recommend several days in Cusco. And at least, here, if you're going to stay at this lodge, there's really nothing else. It's this beautiful, I'll do a little turn here. It's Sanctuary Lodge is a fantastic name. This is the edge of the Amazon rainforest, right? So it is lush and it is beautiful. And it is at the base of Machu Picchu, and that's all there is. there's there's no nightlife here. There's no, no stores, no shops to visit or whatever. When you are here, you are just here to see Machu Picchu.
So
So I think, it's good to plan maybe an overnight here, because one of the tricks to getting into Machu Picchu is you have a specific time that you're allowed to go in. And that was partly because of the pandemic, but also just the sheer volume of tourists that come through. We were talking to our guide this morning. She said before the pandemic, they were getting 7 to 10,000 people a day. Now, with the pandemic still going on, they're still getting about 3,500 people a day. So you have to get tickets ahead of time, and you need to make sure that you are buying the specific routes you want to take, because you used to be able to just kind of wander around the ruins and see it at your own pace, but now they give out specific circuits that you can do throughout the ruins. So today we went back this morning and we saw a completely different part of the ruins, so you really kind of have to map it out ahead of time and know what you want to see.
so is it very crowded this time of year? I'm sure this is peak. Is this peak tourism season for them?
Where we have gone, and this is our third city so far, we have heard tons of English and run into lots and lots and lots of Americans because it's summer break. And if you're going to take, in our case, we're taking 12 days to go to several different spots throughout Peru, you're going to want to have enough time that nobody's missing school and that you can block it off from work and really kind of dig in and enjoy a couple of days in each spot. Peru is such a massive, beautiful country of extremes. We landed in Lima, and then we went straight to Paracas, which is in southern Peru, along the coast. And that is part of the Atacama Desert. And that desert stretches from Peru down to Chile. It's thousands of miles. So that was all sand dunes. And then we got up to Cusco, which again, colonial ruins, a very rich city, lots of nightlife, lots of shops, tons and tons and tons of tourists. And then we get on our train and we come out here, and it's everybody's heading to Machu Picchu. So, I would recommend, if you're gonna try and see Machu Picchu and Peru in general, definitely start with Lima, start with Cusco. Lima, we haven't even talked about Lima yet. That's a city of 11 million people and arguably one of the best food destinations in the world. It is considered a straight up food destination with spectacular cuisine. You've got amazing seafood, you've got sushi, you've got Peruvian food, you've got fusion food. They've got what they love that's called chifa, which is kind of a combination of Chinese and Peruvian fusion. That is another big draw for foodies in the city of Lima. But then there's also museums. There's all of these historical sites. When you were coming through Peru, it's not at all like the US. And you mentioned a little bit about planning and taking your time. You have to absolutely leave the American idea of we're on a schedule back in the States. That you're not going to enjoy it. This is a much more relaxed, much easier going, not nearly as organized and as structured as we typically have our vacations in the US, just to warn everybody. But that's part of the joy of it. You have to be flexible. You have to be ready to say, oh, this morning kids and I walked out thinking that we were going to hike one of the mountains, only to find that we didn't actually have the tickets that we thought we had, and we had to completely course correct, and it was fine. But I think if you can come to a country like this and really just come in with an open mind and an eagerness just to experience every moment, it's gonna be the trip of a lifetime.
So what is the cost like, as far, I'm sure the major expenses is the transportation getting there, but once you get there, give me an idea of what, the expenses and stuff like that you kind of have to expect when you get there.
You can run the gamut. We are doing a more expensive version because I've got my kids with me, and I wanted to make sure we had drivers with us who could get us where we needed to go. And so that, when it's me by myself, I don't mind missing a train and waiting a couple of hours. But if you're packing the kids with you, for me this time around, it was worth it to pay extra to make sure everything was handled ahead of time. But you can get, well, airfare is kind of crazy right now. We were able to get business class tickets from Denver to Lima for, I think it was about $1,800, which again, business class. They were
Mhm.
cheaper. It was like $500 to fly coach. So, depends on how much you want to spend, right? If you want to go the budget route, you can get a ticket to Lima usually from between about $700 to $1,200, depending on the time of year. And of course, with rising fuel costs, it's
Yeah.
much more expensive than it was a year
And
ago when we
how
looked at
long is
this.
the flight? How long is the
The
flight from?
hotels, again, you have, so if you go from Dallas Fort Worth to Lima, it's 7 hours, and usually that's an overnight.
Okay. And I'm sorry,
So whatever your
you were
connections
about
are,
to
and then
I cut you off. You were about to start talking about hotels. Sorry, go ahead. You can talk about the hotels.
oh yeah, so and there's hostels for backpackers, and then there are luxury accommodations at the base of Machu Picchu, which I am very happy to be staying at in this stage of my life. I've kind of aged out of the backpacker demographic at this point. I like a nice bed. I like a warm shower. I like good food. So, some of these hotels are $500 a night, but you can certainly find really good, like Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott brand names Americans would recognize, 120-ish, comparable
Okay.
to the US. So it's not a horribly expensive trip if you want to do this kind of mid range and with the whole family. And I mean, the memories you're going to make, the things you're going to see, it is so completely different from anything you're going to experience in the US. And one of the things that my kids enjoyed the most, I mentioned that we went to this desert in southern Peru. Well, they do stand through these ginormous dunes, and they have these dune buggy rides, take you up and down
Close
all
your
over the
mouth.
place at crazy speeds. Okay, you fasten your seatbelt, but there's no waivers, there's no helmets. They hand you sandboards, and then you lay down flat on
Close your
them and
mouth.
go shooting down the mountain. I should have sent you one of those videos too. Again, nothing any insurance company or tourist company in the United States would ever let anybody do. But it's so fun. It is so free. And this is something, my kids and I are going to look back on fondly for the rest of our lives. This is the trip of a lifetime.
All right. Well, very good. Well, Carrie, I will let you go. It was good to talk to you, and I will keep track of your adventures. You still got a couple more days. Where are you heading next? You're leaving there, and tell me where you're going next now.
So we go back to Cusco tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to go to Lima, and we're going to have 4 days in Lima. We have friends down there. We're going to go horseback riding. We have Peruvian horses, so that was a big priority for us, was to be able to go and see some of these ranches where our horses basically descended from. Also, tons of history there, and we're going to eat lots more really good food. I will be drinking pisco sours. If you guys ever get down here, that is the first thing you need to drink coming off the plane. It's the national drink of Peru, and it's magical. And we're going to just kind of spend a few slower days left in Lima, and then hop on the plane and come back next Monday, and we will be much better people for it.
Well, Carrie, it was so lovely to chat with you again, and good to catch up. And we'll try not to make it so long next time. And of course, our Texas sized
Please.
friends, in Lubbock will probably enjoy this as well once I get it posted.
I miss all of you guys. If anybody from Lubbock is watching, I love you guys so much. What a great city. What a great time of my life. Also deeply thankful for that.
All right, well, Carrie, enjoy the rest of the trip, and thanks for the impromptu live shot that we did today.
Super fun, Mike. Always great to hear from you.